Nothing has gone the Atlanta Braves' way this year, but there are still plenty of reasons to have hope with this team. Yes, there are. And I'm going to tell you on today's episode of Locked On Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Jake Mastriani. You can follow me on social media at ShortstopBall. Follow the podcast there at LockedOn_Braves. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you're new. Hit that thumbs up button so others can find us, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. A lot of you did that on the last podcast. Thank you so much. It really does help the show a ton whenever you do that. If you're an everydayer, let me know there as well. Thank you so much for making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. If you're listening on the audio version, please leave me a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Again, I appreciate all your support here at Locked On Braves. On today's podcast, I am going to tell you several reasons why you should still be optimistic about this season. And I get it. You're skeptical, but just hang in there with me. I'm going to tell you why there is still plenty of hope left for this Atlanta Braves team in 2024. We'll also break down our Minors Monday recap, tell you everything happening down on the farm. Young Carlos Lara is finally taking off. Lucas Braun looks like a legitimate prospect. So a lot of good stuff happening down on the farm as well that we'll get into. And we'll talk about this Giants series in the game that's going on as I'm recording this live on Monday night. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. You got the baseball season right now. It is your main ticket. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, the Braves and the Giants are getting started as I record this here on Monday night. Schedule's going to be a little bit different this week is when I record and post episodes with the West Coast trips. So we may have some more of these recording while games are going on in progress. Hopefully you enjoy that. We got several here with us live already. Jeffrey Humphreys, Doc Cards, Dr. Slick in here, Joseph Recap, Leonardo, Jonathan Skull. Thank you so much for joining me here. Golden Child, good evening to you as well. This first segment, look, everything's been negative here lately. You listen to the podcast, it's been very negative, and rightfully so, as it should be with the way that this Atlanta Braves team has been playing. But I'm going to try to bring some optimism to the podcast tonight, because I'm going to tell you why there is still plenty of reason to believe in this Atlanta Braves team. I'm going to give you some hope for the rest of this season, because I still think it's there. As frustrated as I am with this team, and I know that's hard to believe coming off the loss that the Braves just had, but I do believe in this team. As I said on the podcast the other day, somebody asked me, is this team going to make the playoffs? Yes, I still very much believe this team is going to make it to the postseason, and I'll continue to believe that until it just does not happen. But I still think they do. And we know once you get there, all bets are off. Anything can happen at that point. Whoever has the best 3 to 4 weeks in October can win a World Series or at least make a deep run. And look, I'll be honest, at this point, I would just be ecstatic if this team made a run, made it out of the division series. With the way things have gone this season, I'll be happy if this team makes the postseason with the way things have gone lately. But again, it's just a matter of getting there. We know that. Braves fans should know that more than anyone. But the first reason I'm going to give you why I still believe that there is a lot of hope for this team this year is the lineup is starting to come around. You did have the back-to-back shutouts there to the Marlins and the Brewers, which is just inexcusable. Can't happen. But outside of those two games, we've really seen a much better offense in the second half. And look, you can take offensive numbers in Coors Field with a little bit of a grain of salt, but even still, I think the at-bats have been much better in the second half of the season since the All-Star break. And if you look at the last 30 days for this Braves team, the Braves' 7 regulars in the lineup have an OPS over 800. And that's 8 if you include Laureano, who's back healthy tonight, Monday night, playing for the Atlanta Braves. So when healthy, this lineup has been really, really good this past 30 days. Again, that's 8 guys that you can throw in there that have had an OPS over 800. And Whit Merrifield has an OPS over 750 in that stretch as well. So now you're looking at a complete lineup from top to bottom that has been really good. The players who have killed you, Jared Kelenic, Eddie Rosario, no longer with the team, and Adam Duvall. All those players have a 550 or below OPS over that stretch. But everybody else in this lineup has done a great job of contributing over the last 30 days. And another reason to be hopeful with this lineup is Michael Harris is coming back. And I know what you're saying and what you're probably thinking. Michael Harris was struggling even before the injury, and I get that. But I just told you, Jared Kelenic, Eddie Rosario, Adam Duvall, these are guys you've been playing every day, and they've been giving you nothing. And I believe Michael Harris, even at his worst, is going to give you something. And Michael Harris has been playing really good at Gwinnett for what that's worth. And if he can continue that as he comes up, I just feel like he's going to give this team a boost because he's going to do some other things as well. He's going to go back in center field, which is going to allow you to, relax things in the outfield. You're going to be able to move Kelenic to left field, maybe play a little bit of platoon there with Laureano. You got Jorge Soler still in right field, but Michael Harris, obviously can cover that, assuming the hamstring is good to go. And everything we hear from Snicker says it's good to go. Snicker even saying, he's not going to have any limitations towards stealing either, which was another big bonus point for Michael Harris coming back. It gives you somebody in this lineup with some speed that can help you create on the base pass, score from first base, steal a base. And that's what this lineup has been missing. So again, the lineup overall has been much better over the past month. And now you get Michael Harris back. And I think that's just going to be a big boost. I think it's going to settle down the outfield a little bit. That situation has just been a disaster pretty much all season long. So I think Michael Harris is going to come and insert just another spark into an offense that overall has been much better in the second half of the season. The other reason to be very optimistic about this team going forward is that there's no more resting your starting pitchers. I get why you had to do that in the first half of the season to try to keep these guys healthy, to try to make sure they're ready for the end of the season. Well, it's the end of the season and your postseason hopes are on the line. So as Snicker said the other day, it is go time. There is no more getting extra rest. There is nothing else to save these guys for. It is every fifth day you are putting your best starter out there to give you a chance to win. And that's what we should see going forward. So no more Bryce Elders, Alan Wyans, Darius Vines, no more Grant Holmes, no more Ray Kurz, even like we saw in the first half. It's going to be, assuming everybody stays healthy, Chris Sale, Max Fried, Spencer Schwellenbach. That one might be a little bit questionable. Reynaldo Lopez, Charlie Morton. So you're going to get your best guys going every fifth day. I think that's going to help calm down this rotation. And then obviously, anytime you're going to have those guys going every fifth day, you feel much better about your chances. So I think that's another reason to be very optimistic for this Braves team going down the stretch. Just the idea that your starters, you're not having to shuffle the rotation. And you do have an Ian Anderson, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, who could come back and also help this team if there is an injury, or maybe you do need to limit Spencer Schwellenbach a little bit if he starts to look tired. So there are some other options there that could come along that are better than what the Braves have been rolling out there. So again, just two big reasons in my mind why you should still have optimism about this team. This one is just hopeful, but they're due some good karma. This season has been a complete disaster. Nothing. They've created some of their own bad luck, but nothing has gone the Braves' way in 2024, from injuries to just, it feels like every close call goes against them. Every ball is just fair for the other team. Every ball is just foul for the Braves team. It feels that way all year long, that just nothing has gone their way. That has to change at some point, and maybe not. Maybe this is just going to be a complete bad year where nothing goes your way, like last regular season where everything went the Braves' way. They're getting the reverse this season, but I hope that things are going to turn around for this team and they're going to start having some bounces go their way. And then I think maybe most importantly for fans, and this one comes from Steven on X, B_outliers, good follow, good Braves follow on social media. I'm paraphrasing basically what he said, but a year ago, the Diamondbacks were 3 games behind the last wild card spot at 57-59. So a losing record at this time last year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Braves are 61-56 entering Monday night's game, and they hold the last wild card spot. So they're even better positioned than the Diamondbacks were a year ago. The Diamondbacks got to 84 wins, got that final wild card spot, and went to the World Series. So again, that's not a likely outcome. It's certainly not the outcome that you want to rely on. But again, it comes back with this expanded postseason. Just get in and see what can happen. And that's really all you got to do, especially with its expanded postseason format. So I think there's, still a lot of hope left to be had with this team, as bad as things have been. And look, I don't trust them. I don't trust them right now, but that can change. I've been saying it, though. I need to see a 2-week stretch out of them. They need to go on a run. They need to go on an 8-2 stretch, a 14-4 stretch, something like that over 2 weeks to really, give themselves some distance, give themselves some good vibes, and feel much better about their chances getting a postseason spot and once they get to the postseason. But we've been saying it all year, even with the injuries, the talent is there. I mean, you're talking about a Michael Harris coming back, an Austin Riley, a Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, a big weekend. Now you get Jorge Soler in there. Your catcher's position has been good. All of a sudden, you're 6-7 deep in this order. I mean, that's the offense that we envisioned coming into the year. So I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about this offense. And again, I think the starting rotation, you just settle it down, start letting these guys go every 5th day. I think things could settle down there as well. And you're starting to look at a team that could be rolling. I mean, Chris Sale has been an ace. I believe Max Fried will be. I know he's had a couple of hiccups since that nerve issue, but I think he'll get back there. Spencer Schwellenbach's looked amazing. Charlie Morton is up and down. Reynaldo Lopez has been great. We'll see what he looks like coming back, and we'll talk more about him later. And the bullpen's been great up until this last week. So again, if things just kind of settle down there, the offense starts to click, I still believe in this team that they can accomplish what they hoped for coming into this season. Certainly they've not made many of us believers, and they've tortured a lot of us this season. But again, I still think there's reason to believe in this team. And I just needed something more optimistic. We've been so negative here lately. And again, for good reason, this terrible stretch that they've been on. But I don't want you to lose hope, because I've seen so many people say, I'm done. I'm moving on to football season. I'm giving up on this team. Don't give up just yet. This is baseball. Things can change in the span of a week, and things can certainly change once you get to the postseason. So don't give up on this team yet. I still believe that there is the opportunity and the ability there for them to get it done. All right, next we'll move to our Minors Monday segment. We'll go through each level, talk about the standout performers there, including on Carlos Lara, who was one of my breakout prospects coming into this season. A little bit of a slow start, but he is really starting to catch fire. We'll talk about him and more here next. Do you love getting money back on the things that you buy, things you're already going to buy? You don't have to go out and buy anything differently. Just go out and buy what you're going to buy, and you can still get money back. Who wouldn't want that? And you can get that with the free Ibotta app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $145 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. Not with my kids, but it would put a good dent in it. Could buy that flight that you've been eyeing, or get those good tickets down to the 100 levels at your next Braves game. You can do that just by using the Ibotta app. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, just add your offers in the app, upload your receipts, and get real cash that you can check out for your bank account, PayPal, or gift card. Join the over 50 million savers and earn cash back every time you shop from over 2,700 brands and retailers. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta. It's free money. Just use code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. I love sports, and I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But we are in the dog days of summer. It is only Major League Baseball happening right now, so not a lot at the moment, although it is perfectly fine with me. But FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily all summer long. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Just go to FanDuel.com. They have parlays over there that you can look at. They have single game parlays and bets that you can look at. They have award-winning for future bets as well. Who's going to win that NL Cy Young? Hopefully Chris Sale continues his trek on that with a good start tonight. But you can see all that over at FanDuel.com. Also, make sure you visit FanDuel.com/PlaySafe for tools and resources to help you stay in control of the way you play. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Thank you so much for making Locked On Braves your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast with host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, as he brings you humor while also bringing you the biggest stories from around Major League Baseball, covering everything there daily on Locked On MLB podcast, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, let's jump into the Minors Monday recap, doing this on a Monday night. We already got a podcast out this week, so if you missed it, make sure you go back and give it a listen. It's going to be a little bit more depressing than this first segment was on this show, but again, very good episode, I believe, and from all the comments, some of you agree as well. But looking at the top prospects in the Braves system, A.J. Smith-Shawver, 3 2/3 innings this past week, 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 earned runs, only 1 home run. I guess you want to look at maybe a little bit of positivity there, and 5 strikeouts, while Hurston Waldrep, 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks, but just 1 earned run and only 3 strikeouts. I still very much love A.J. Smith-Shawver and Hurston Waldrep, but since they both have gotten injured and coming back, it's been a real struggle for those two. And you were hoping that they were guys that could maybe step up in the rotation. It's been Spencer Schwellenbach, which is great, but you were really hoping to see A.J. Smith-Shawver and or Hurston Waldrep, work their way back and be pushing for a rotation spot. I still think that there's a chance that maybe one or both of those guys earn a bullpen spot at the end of the year. We'll talk more about the bullpen later with the news on A.J. Minter, but they just haven't proven it so far from coming back from injury. They just have not proven themselves to this point. J.R. Ritchie had a good start, 5 innings, no hits, 2 walks, no earned, and 7 strikeouts. So great to see from him as he continues to work his way back from Tommy John surgery. Nacho Alvarez had a rough week at Gwinnett, just 2 for 20 at the plate, had 3 walks as well. And you hope that little stint at the big league level didn't hurt his confidence at all. It was a guy that was hot when he came up, playing with a ton of confidence, and been a little cold since going back down. So again, hopefully that didn't do anything to him there, as Floriano misplays the ball in center field, and it's a leadoff double for the San Francisco Giants. So Michael Harris, please hurry up and get back. But getting back into the Minors Monday part of the episode here, Jose Perdomo went 1 for 3 with a walk and a caught stealing on August 6th, walked and stole a base on August 8th, but then was removed from the game. And unfortunately, one of the Braves' top position player prospects. It's a bit of a lost season. Now, he is really young, weren't expecting much, but it was a guy that they were going to push in the Arizona Complex League or the Florida Complex League this year, but just had an injury to start the season, put him on the 60-day IL, and hasn't really just been able to stay on the field. So again, really young, obviously nothing to worry about there, but injuries, all over for the Braves this season, even at the minor league ranks. Luis Guanipa, 2 for 11, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 caught stealing. He still is adjusting to full season pro ball. Still love Luis Guanipa, but it's been a struggle for him at Augusta so far. Drew Hackenberg has a bounce back start, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 1 earned, and 6 strikeouts, as looks like the Giants are going to take an early lead here. They got runners on the corners, but nobody out in the first inning. Chris Sale struggles with that first inning a little bit, but not getting much help from his defense. And then rounding out the top prospects, Drake Baldwin, 4 for 13 with a double and 5 walks this past week. So he continues to play really well. At Gwinnett, Michael Harris, 10 for 23 with a home run, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Again, just on fire, incredible. Look, it is AAA. I get that, but what are you supposed to do? I mean, I would much rather him do that than go up there and be 3 for 23, with no walks and 6, 7 strikeouts. So certainly great to see him having some success down there, and hopefully that carries over once he gets called up on a Wednesday. Yuli Gurriel, the old veteran there, still able to get it done, 7 for 16 with 2 doubles, 2 homers, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Andrew Velasquez, 6 for 16 with 2 homers and 2 stolen bases. And then Ian Anderson, I mentioned, he had a good start, 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, did walk 3. I don't love to see those walks from Ian Anderson, something he's always struggled with. Did allow 3 runs because of 2 homers that he gave up and only had 4 strikeouts. But good to see him going, 6 2/3 innings, going deep into the ballgame. And Dylan Lee, he went 3 innings last week at Gwinnett, 1 hit, no walk, no earned, 4 strikeouts. Would have loved to have that performance for the Atlanta Braves this past week. But those options, man, just put your best players on the roster. That's all I'm asking for. Just put your best players on the roster. Dylan Lee is back now. Again, we'll talk about that later. At Mississippi, Yolbert Sanchez, 8 for 18 with a walk and a stolen base. David McCabe, 3 for 15, hit a home run, had 2 walks as well. And then Lucas Braun, 7 2/3 innings, 5 hits, no walks, no earned, and 8 strikeouts. He is becoming a legitimate pitching prospect for the Atlanta Braves. Now, I still think he's a back of the rotation type of arm. I believe that's his ceiling, but I mean, this is a guy that I think could be knocking on the door pretty soon with the way that he has performed. I think he's really close to reaching that ceiling as a 4th or 5th starter at the big league. So he's been great. And again, I think he could be one of those next guys up for the Atlanta Braves. You listen to the Peach State Prospects podcast over there. Love what those guys do. They had a lot of good things to say about Lucas Braun, and they believe he could be one of the next call-ups for the Atlanta Braves or one of the next pitching prospects to make their debut. Maybe not this year, but again, he is certainly knocking on the door and proving it at the minor league level. Jonathan Hughes, 2 games this past week, 5 innings, no hits, no walks, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. So great work there. Perfect week, you could say, for Jonathan Hughes. And then Roldy Munoz, I keep mentioning him because I think he's one of the better high leverage bullpen arms that the Braves could have coming up through their system. 2 2/3 innings last week, no hits, no walks, which is huge for him. Did hit a batter. Only 1 strikeout, though, is pretty rare for Munoz. Please go foul. Okay, that ball went foul. At Rome, Drew Compton, 8 for 24 with a double, a home run, and 2 walks. Jace Grady, 6 for 23 with 2 homers, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Mitch Ferris, who I'm trying to get on the show. I know he's on the Peach State Prospects podcast as well, but he had an outstanding week, 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, no earned, and 12 strikeouts. And Giancarlo Lara was matching him in his outing as well. 6 innings, no hits, just 1 walk, no earned, and 12 strikeouts as well. So I don't know who Rome was facing this past week, but apparently it was not a team that was very offensive-minded, as Mitch Ferris and Giancarlo Lara racking up the strikeouts with some great performances. Now, the last 5 starts for Giancarlo Lara, who got off to a slow start this season with an injury, him kind of being delayed, coming back, a big strikeout there for Chris Sale. But the last 5 starts for Giancarlo Lara, 27 innings, only 16 hits allowed. He has walked 10, something he needs to improve on. 6 earned runs, 36 strikeouts. That's an ERA of 2.00 and a whip of 0.96. So again, a lot of people like myself really pegged him as a breakout prospect coming into this season. Got off to a slow start, but seems to really be taking off. So that's great to see. And then finally at Augusta, Colby Jones, recently drafted shortstop, 4 for 10 this past week with a double and a stolen base. Patrick Klowizy, one of my favorite bats from this past draft. Not a big week, but 2 for 11 with 2 walks. Just want to mention him as, again, some of these 2024 draft picks are getting their feet wet. Adam Shoemaker, 4 innings, no hits, 2 walks, no earned, and 4 strikeouts. And then Didier Fuentes, looks like maybe they're trying to manage his innings. Hopefully that's what it is, and hopefully he wasn't hurt, but only went 2 2/3 innings this past week. Didn't allow a hit, did walk 2, but no earned runs and 3 strikeouts. So that's everything happening down at the minor league level for the Braves. Not a lot of time left there. So if you haven't gotten out to your minor league ballpark, I know it's extremely hot, but make sure that you go out there, support your local minor league team, and watch some of these Braves prospects while you got a chance, because look, they perform, Braves are going to call them up. So they may not be there very long. But again, I think there's a lot of good things happening down on the farm, especially on the pitching side of things with Lucas Braun, Mitch Ferris, and Giancarlo Lara having big weeks. All right, next we will turn our attention to the Giants, who the Braves are playing right now. I'll go ahead and preview Tuesday's game before Monday's game is finished. It's that kind of week. The Braves are on the West Coast, and I just cannot stay up that late to record these podcasts after the game ends, although we'll be doing a postcast with me and Grant McCauley. But either way, we'll talk about this Giants series, get to some of the news where A.J. Minter is on the IL, Dylan Lee's back up, get Michael Harris coming back, so some news to get to as well. We'll cover that all here next. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. They're easy to use. A website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Let's talk about the news first here, because some pretty interesting items to get into. Some good items for the most part, but we'll start with the bad here, and that's AJ Minter going on the injured list again. That hip continuing to bother him. I saw some people mention the fact that it looks like, all right, Chris Sale's going to get out of that inning. Sorry for the interruption there, but Chris Sale wiggles out of first and third, nobody out to not give up anything in the first inning. So that's huge there for Chris Sale. But AJ Minter, that hip continuing to bother him. His velocity had been down, and he obviously just hadn't looked as effective here lately. And now it's a question of, is he going to pitch again this season? And that would be a big loss for this Braves team, a guy that was supposed to be part of that, big back end of the bullpen with the Braves, along with Jimenez and Johnson and Iglesias. And, he was your lefty, your one lefty that you really counted on there. And it's just the Braves went out and got some lefties this year. You had Dylan Lee, AJ Minter, Ray Kerr, Tyler Matzik coming into the season, Aaron Bummer. And now I guess Dylan Lee, who's coming back up, he's your lefty. And look, Joe Jimenez can get out lefties. All those guys can get out lefties. But I just really hate it for AJ Minter, one, because it obviously hurts the Braves. He's a really good reliever, been one of the Braves' best relievers for the last several years. And also it's a year that he's going into free agency. And you wonder what this does for his free agency. If he doesn't throw another pitch this year, I can't imagine he's going to have a ton of people, lining up. And I thought coming into the season, if he has another good year, he could be somebody like, that could go out and Robert Stevenson that went from the Rays. The Angels signed him to maybe be their closer, or at least their main setup guy that might take over the closer's role. He ended up getting injured, but I thought that could be a similar case for AJ Minter, where he goes into the offseason, looking to get a closer type deal and closer type money. But I just don't think there's going to be any teams willing to do that now after he's having, numbers aren't going to be terrible for him, but just coming off injury like this, if he can't return, I don't know what type of deal AJ Minter is going to be able to get this offseason. Maybe it's a situation where it helps the Braves to get him back if the Braves want him back, if this injury is not anything serious or long-term. But I just hate it for AJ Minter. Again, a guy that's been really good for the Braves for a long time, and now he's suffering an injury at the worst possible time for his career. Dylan Lee is back up. He never should have been sent back down, but he is now back up. Everybody thought maybe Luke Jackson was going to be DFA'd to get Luke Jackson back up here, or to get Dylan Lee back up here. But unfortunately, it took a AJ Minter injury. But Dylan Lee is back, so good to have him back. He is one of the Braves' better relief options. He's probably now going to be slotted in as the fourth or fifth guy in that bullpen. So glad to have Dylan Lee back up here. And Reynaldo, and we'll get to the good part of the injury news here. Reynaldo Lopez begins a rehab assignment on Tuesday. So that would line him up most likely to take over Grant Holmes' spot in the rotation next time around. But Reynaldo Lopez making, I would assume, just one rehab start. He hasn't been out that long. And, after what you've seen with Max Fried here, is the Braves didn't give him a chance to really get geared back up at the minor league level after missing a few weeks. They are going to give Reynaldo Lopez, again, I think just one start to get geared back up, obviously depending on how that goes. But then it looks like Reynaldo Lopez could rejoin the rotation. So that'll certainly be great. Back to some bad news, I guess. I thought I had more good news coming, but we already talked about Michael Harris, and he is going to be back on Wednesday. Brian Snitker already confirmed that, and I mentioned earlier, no real restrictions on him running-wise, so that is great news. But getting back to some more bad news now, Huascar Ynoa suffers another setback with his shoulder. I don't know what the future holds for Huascar Ynoa, but shoulders scare me more than elbows. We've proven that elbows can be fixed with Tommy John surgery. Shoulders, you don't know. And I think that's why the Braves were willing to let Kyle Wright go, just because so many shoulder issues, even for Michael Soroka, a lot of shoulder issues there. I know his have been more in other areas, but shoulders to me are more scary for pitchers than elbows. Elbows we've been proven to fix. Shoulders just always seem to be more lingering. I did also want to mention, I hadn't mentioned it yet because honestly, it doesn't excite me too much, but the Braves are playing against the Reds at Bristol Motor Speedway next August, I believe. I mean, cool. The Braves are finally getting to play in one of these games instead of a NASCAR stadium. I don't know. Maybe, hopefully you're excited. If you're a NASCAR fan, I'm sure you are. I honestly don't really care. But, at least the Braves are getting some national spotlight and attention there playing in one of those venues. But I don't know how that's going to work, what that's going to look like at a NASCAR stadium. I don't know why they're playing at a NASCAR stadium, but hey, there it is. So Tuesday, it'll be Charlie Morton versus Kyle Harrison of the Giants. Morton, if we're continuing this up and down trend, this should be a good start for Morton. So hopefully that is the case. 4 home runs allowed in his last start. Terrible, obviously. Don't want to see that coming back. He had some real issues with home runs 2 years ago. It kind of eliminated that last year, and it was more just the walks and hit batters that were hurting him. He's walked 2 or fewer in his last 6 starts, which is great, but he's given up 2 home runs or more in 4 of those 6 starts. So now it's the home run ball that's hurting him again. We'll be pitching in a little bit more pitcher-friendly ballpark, so hopefully that helps a little bit. But again, kind of in this up and down trend for Charlie Morton. This should be one of that is up, and let's hope that's the case. As for Harrison, hasn't made it through the 5th inning in his last 2 starts. He gave up 4 home runs in Cincinnati 2 starts ago. Average to below average stuff across the board. He has a 4.73 expected ERA on the year, almost a full point higher than his actual ERA. But one thing I'll say, his 4-seamer is tough. Even in the low 90s, it's been a tough pitch for batters to hit. It has a plus 11 run value this year, according to Baseball Savant, and it seems to play up at the top of the zone. We've discussed a lot of the fact that the Braves have struggled mightily compared to other teams against 4-seam fastballs this year, and Harrison has a good one even at lower velocity, so that's something to watch in Tuesday's game. Just a little update as we're watching the game on Monday night. It's a 0-0 game in the top of the 2nd. Again, Chris Sale avoiding a jam there in that 1st inning. Hopefully this Braves offense can get going against Blake Snell. Be patient. This guy that can struggle with walks. He doesn't give up a ton of hits, but he can struggle with walks at time, and hopefully that'll be the case. Thanks for joining me here. Thanks for making Locked On Braves your first listen. Go make Locked On MLB your second listen of the day. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you are new. Hit that thumbs up button. Thanks to Braves Thrills, Dr. Slick, Shade, Golden Child, Garrett Clemens, making it here till the end as well. Thank you all so much for joining and commenting here. I really do appreciate it. Leave me another comment down in the comment section below on YouTube. Again, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, follow us on social media, and make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast. And we will talk to you next time.